so that every child has access to a high quality education. So thank you for joining us. I do want to make note that we have Director Dobson is online, and we do expect Director Wachter to also join us online, correct? Oh, and joining right now. Excellent, thank you. I would like to remind our community that the purpose of our board meetings is to conduct the business of the district first and for everyone to learn about the district in a safe and productive manner. First thing on the agenda is community comments. And do we have Blaine Wenninger in the audience? All right. Okay.
Never done this, so I think you know.
No problem. Community comments are an opportunity for our community to share their ideas and opinions with the board. Input is welcome and valued. It is our duty to keep it safe and respectful for everyone, students, staff, and our community, and this is not a time for discussion or debate. Letters to the board are always welcome, and each of us reads the input. Requests for information should be made as outlined in policy KBA-AR. An individual desiring to speak will have indicated their desire prior to the board meeting. An individual with a disability will be given an equal opportunity to participate in board meetings. This may include someone speaking on their behalf if their disability or other medical needs limits their ability to attend in person. Board policy also speaks to the accommodations available. A speaker will be required to give their name, city of residence, and the group, if any, that is represented. If there are more patrons desiring to present comments than the time allotted, the board chair has the authority to reduce the presentation time for individual speakers or institute a prioritization process with first priority to students and city of residence. Speakers may offer objective criticisms of district operations and programs that are of concern to them. The board is restricted from hearing and will not consider complaints regarding any individual staff member or any person connected with the district. Comments that make a staff member identifiable to the public, even without their specific name, violate the policy. As an organization centered around youth and their positive development, all speakers will model respectful public comment and be mindful of civil discourse. So welcome, Blaine. If you want to come up to the front.
Right on, thank you.
And state your name, city of residence, and the group, if any, and then your 3 minutes will start. And just make sure the green light is on your microphone.
Yeah, it
and
is.
That way everyone can hear you.
Okay, thanks. Blaine Wenninger, we live in Clackamas. I'm just representing our family. So, thanks. So this has kind of come up in the last couple of years. I'll go off the cuff here. Helping my son with homework and lessons has been a bit of a challenge. He does well in school, but I would like to be able to help him more. And sometimes the communication with the teachers can be great or not so great. And I feel like I'm playing catch up. So that's my preamble to what I'm going to talk about. Thanks. So in thinking about this, introducing cameras in classrooms throughout the school district would offer improvements to student safety, academic excellence, and accountability. I have a few bullet points. Enhanced student safety. Classroom cameras can serve as a deterrent to bullying, harassment, and other inappropriate behaviors. Their presence foster a safer and more respectful learning environment for all students. Next point would be professional support for educators. Recording can be a valuable tool for teacher development and training. They support reflective teaching practices, classroom management strategies, and overall instructional improvement. Increase parental confidence. For families, especially those with younger children, students with special needs, classroom cameras can provide reassurance that schools are safe, well managed, and responsive to student needs. This is kind of the bullet point for me, but I'm sure other families might find this helpful. Access to recorded lessons would empower parents to better support their children's learning at home. For example, being able to review lesson content helps parents understand their material and assist with homework and/or lessons their child is having difficulty with and help them deal with that more effectively. Addressing privacy concerns. To protect student privacy, cameras could be positioned to face only the front of the classroom, e.g. maybe look at the whiteboard, chalkboard, and just the teacher. This setup minimizes the likelihood of capturing identifiable student images. And then controlled access. Access to camera footage, in my opinion, would be strictly limited. Only parents or legal guardians would be allowed to view recordings from the classroom their child is enrolled in, potentially through a secure platform like ParentView. Cost-effective implementation. High-quality remote cameras capable of uploading footage to a secure server are relatively affordable, averaging about $50 per unit. I guesstimated this, but for approximately 800 classrooms in the North Clackamas School District, the cost would be about $40,000 plus server infrastructure upgrades for data storage. In conclusion, district-wide implementation of classroom cameras can significantly enhance safety, transparency, and instructional quality. It fosters stronger family engagement by allowing parents to connect to their child's learning experience. Perfect. 3 minutes. Awesome. Okay, thanks.
All right, we will begin with our native land acknowledgement, which is now going to be given by our students, North Clackamas High School students.
We acknowledge the land on which we sit, in which we call the North Clackamas School District, rest on the traditional and indigenous lands and village sites of the native peoples of the Kalapuya, Chinook, Molalla, and the Clackamas.
We take this opportunity to offer gratitude for the ability to learn
and work and be a community on this land.
And we offer thanks to the original caretakers of this region.
We recognize the historic policies of colonization, genocide, relocation, and assimilation
that affected the indigenous and native families, both past and present,
and that will affect those in the future.
And honor the resilience and revitalization of our indigenous and native communities.
We pay our respects to the elders, both past and present, who have been the stewards of this land throughout the generations.
Thank you. All right, board members, please stand, and Director Olson, will you lead the Pledge of Allegiance tonight?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, first order of business tonight. In the board packet, you will find the consent agenda for this evening's meeting. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Don't all speak. Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, it has been moved by Director McVeigh and seconded by Director Olson. I call for a vote on the motion. All those in favor? Aye.
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 And do we have Director Wachter as well?
Aye. Two ayes for me.
Excellent. All those opposed? Excellent. The motion passes with a vote of 6-0. Thank you. All right, next on the agenda is the Integrated Programs Annual Report. I welcome Executive Director of Student and Family Services, Jennifer Dove Kiltow.
There we go. Good evening, everybody. Okay, good evening. Tonight, I am here to share the North Clackamas District's Integrated Programs Annual Report for the 24-25 school year. This presentation fulfills our requirement to publicly review progress each year, but most importantly, it allows us to reflect on the impact of these funds, to acknowledge our successes, and to identify the challenges that may remain for us to work on. My goal is to walk you through the story of how these resources are helping us as a district to meet the needs of our students and families. So our integrated programs brings together 9 different funding streams, both state and federal, that share common goals. These programs provided last year, 24-25, over $23.7 million to our district, with more than $16.4 million from the student investment account specifically. While the student investment account statute requires this annual budget report, in practice, it's difficult to talk about SIA funds in isolation because these dollars are braided with other funding sources. So as you can see here, the 9 different areas, and for that reason, we review all of the integrated programs together. This provides a clearer picture of how we are using these resources to support equity, learning, and wellness across our district. So when we look at the different programs, continuous planning, everyday matters, career connected learning, high school success, the student investment account, early indicators and intervention systems, early literacy success grant, career and technical education, and federal school improvement. You can see how funds are distributed across the different programs, but you can also see how there are some programs like Everyday Matters and Career Connected Learning are listed, but there's not funds allocated. And that underscores an ongoing challenge, balancing funded mandates with unfunded expectations. And so it also is important to note that we braid dollars strategically so that we can sustain services that are essential for students, even when there are streams of funding that might not be available to us. You can also see that there's different dollar amounts in those different areas. So the student investment account, $16 million, but in some areas like that early indicator and intervention system, $47,000. And so there's different amounts of allocated funds for different reasons per the state. Career and technical education, we're part of a consortium in the county for that. So we don't have a direct fund dedicated to North Clackamas from the state, and instead it goes to the county, and we get funds that way. In regards specifically to SIA, it is our largest funded grant source in the integrated programs. The majority of these funds are tied directly to staffing, and we'll talk about that in a minute. When we look at the budget detail, teachers, social workers, counselors, instructional coaches, other positions that touched students' daily experiences. The SIA supports class size and caseload reduction, mental and behavioral health, family engagement, and these investments are deeply connected to the priorities that our community identified during our needs assessment and were reaffirmed again as we entered our current biennium. If you, as part of your board packet, have a copy of the student investment account budget detail for 24-25, it is the blue and grayed budget detailed line items report. And as you can see, a lot of it does go to FTE. The first line item on that list is for class size and caseload reduction. The law written for SIA requires that those reductions for case size and class load must be strategically targeted for the support of focal student groups. And it must be implemented in ways that reduce academic disparities. And that is where we have invested a large portion of our funds. That's just over $6.5 million that we've invested there. In the area of supporting behavior and mental health needs, we've allocated just over $4.3 million. And that's with the purpose of ensuring students' mental health, social, emotional, and behavioral needs. And those are met by qualified professionals in our schools. To point out just a few specifically, we have elementary wellness teachers, and their job is to teach health 30 minutes a week to all of our students at our elementary schools. We also have family advocates. We have 2 family advocates, one of whom is paid for out of the student investment account. And they're part of our McKinney-Vento team. And their job is to work with students and families who may be experiencing houselessness. And they do everything from setting up transportation for students to ensure that they're getting to school, advocating for students within the schools, connecting those families to community resources. Maybe it's emergency housing over the course of a weekend. Food insecurities, they're connecting them with food and clothing. You'll see that we, through the student investment account, have 5 FTE for school counseling. School counselors focus on student academic, career, and social and emotional development. Their work is preventative and proactive. They deliver lessons in classrooms, they run small groups, meet with kiddos individually. They really bridge the gap between students, families, and teachers. We have allocated 6 FTE for school psychologists. Those school psychologists bring in training, specialized training for mental health, learning, and behavior. They oftentimes are the ones who are the ones doing specialized evaluations for our special education students. They identify learning needs and are helping to support individualized education plans for our students. And then we also have 5 FTE for school social workers. And their focus is connecting, making the connections between school, family, and community, helping to address barriers outside of the classroom that may be impacting learning, such as, again, housing instability, trauma, poverty, providing counseling, crisis intervention, things like that. So each and every one of those roles is very distinct, but they complement each other. Counselors provide more of the universal preventions. School psychologists are offering diagnostic and intensive interventions, and then those social workers are connecting families with critical wraparound supports. But together, they're creating a safety net for our students and their well-being. The last area that I want to highlight on this detailed budget report is that community engagement area. We've invested a little over $1 million in this area, and this funding supports our engagement specialists as well as contracts for communication and feedback tools like Parent Square and the Youth Truth Survey. And these tools allow us not only to communicate important information with families, but also to seek their input in meaningful ways. We are a very large district, and finding ways to have two-way communication with families at the district level can be challenging, and yet we know it's very important and we want to do that. And we're able to look at feedback across the district and then to take that feedback and drill down to the school level and demographically. And that will help us then engage those families on a more personal level. And a common question that we often get is it making a difference? How do we know? How can we tell? And like many initiatives, community engagement is supported by way more than just student investment account. So it's difficult to attribute outcomes to one specific funding stream. But what we can say is that our goals through SIA are in alignment with the district's strategic plan and our strong ongoing commitment to parent and family engagement. And so on a macro level, we know our enrollment is increasing, right? So while many metro districts are seeing declines, our enrollment is increasing. And we see very high participation rates at our elementary conferences. Our back to school events across the district are packed, standing room only. Like, we know that people enjoy going to those. And those are strong indicators of family connection and trust. On a more micro level, we've seen district attendance rate climb above the state average of 70%. And this is exciting. And I'm going to talk a little bit more later in my presentation, but the gap for our focal student groups has narrowed by nearly 18 percentage points. So that's significant. And these outcomes show that when families are engaged and connected, student success follows. So I think that is an indicator that family engagement and that's an indicator that this is making a difference. And I think that answers that question, is this making a difference? As we move forward, our integrated plan is built around 7 outcomes. Each is tied to the most urgent needs identified by our staff, families, and community partners. And tonight I'm going to focus on 2 of those. Outcome B, which centers on literacy instruction and professional development, and outcome E, which addresses extended learning opportunities. And these 2 outcomes connect directly to our longitudinal performance growth targets in 3rd grade reading, 9th grade on track, and 4-year graduation. They represent the foundation for our academic success as a district. And as I go through these next slides, please keep in mind that these examples aren't solely indicative of the student investment account. They do incorporate the efforts of a variety of levels and departments, as well as different funding streams within the integrated programs. So for the purposes of the annual report, ODE asks us to answer 3 questions. So the first question has us discuss at least one outcome where you have seen progress in implementation. So in the 24-25 school year, we saw important progress in both outcomes, B and E. For example, our literacy-focused data teams improved in effectiveness. Excuse me. Let me back up. So in order to measure effectiveness, we use progress measures. There's you can move from low to medium to high within progress measures. And there are a lot of them. And so we put together, as an instructional team, several times a year we get together and we rate ourselves. And so this is what we did recently. And so we got together and our literacy-focused data teams improved in effectiveness, moving from medium to high, using the progress measure outlined by the Oregon Department of Education. And these teams met 5 times during the year, with principals and instructional coaches co-leading the work. And this ensured a strong link between school leadership and classroom practice. We also made gains with our literacy tools and assessments. We have programs like Lexia, Imagine Learning, and FastBridge that are now being used consistently, and families can access FastBridge and STAR results each quarter in Parent View, complete with clear expectations. We also relaunched our professional learning communities and shifted their focus towards student strengths and root cause analysis. And these structures are giving us a stronger foundation for our students to meet 3rd grade reading benchmarks. In looking at our high schools, our high school teams are holding meetings for incoming 9th graders, helping to bridge the transition from 8th to 9th grade, paying particular attention to our multilingual learners and students receiving special education services to ensure smooth transitions and equitable course placement. And we also have expanded credit-bearing opportunities, replacing study halls for at-risk students with courses that will move them towards graduation. In addition, our after-school and summer programs targeted literacy and math skills. And so all of these opportunities not only strengthen academic foundations, but also build student confidence and engagement and especially for those focal students who really could use a little boost, and we really wanted to target and make sure that they're on track to graduate. Altogether, these strategies are advancing us towards our state growth targets in literacy, on-track rates, and graduation. The second question that we grappled with was around barriers and challenges. So while progress is being made, we are also facing barriers, and one of those barriers in recent years is relatively flat SIA funding combined with rising PERS costs. Because most of our integrated funding is tied to staff positions, flexibility to shift resources or scale up is limited. So one clear example that just always kind of comes to mind, families would always love to have additional mental health services in schools. We've heavily invested in this area, but it's tough because there's trade-offs, right? So sustaining is what we're able to do right now, but to add to is very difficult, and to shift is very difficult. So this tension to be able to do that highlights the need for flexible funding at the state level if we're going to continue to meet the full range of student needs. The other thing that is difficult right now is for this year, we were just recently notified that there's going to be a $33 million difference from the state's forecasted allocation for SIA, and therefore we're having to face a reduction in funding. And once again, we're going to have to shift some things around, and I don't know what that's going to look like. It's a constant juggle, a constant shift. I was joking today that with our grants manager that I might need a fire pole put in so I could slide down quicker to get to him and say, what are we going to do now? It's a juggle, and I don't know what the solution is, but we're gonna figure it out. All right. A little bit of news around our growth goals. So at this point, just so you know, the state still has embargoed the 24-25 growth target data. So we're reflecting on our most recently published metrics from 23-24. Our graduation rate remains above the state average at about 88%. Gaps still persist for our focal student groups, so we have work to do there. Our third grade reading proficiency is also slightly above the state average, but again, gaps remain. Where we've seen the most encouraging movement is our attendance. Our regular attender rate climbs above the state average, like I mentioned, at 70%, and we have narrowed by nearly 18 percentage points that gap for focal groups, so that's exciting for us. Moving forward, we're going to deepen our use of literacy-focused data cycles. We're going to continue to expand our extended learning opportunities, and we will continue to strengthen our family engagement with student data. We really feel like these efforts are going to help us not only to maintain progress, but also close the gaps that still exist. We know that when we engage our families, when we go out into our community, when our schools are talking to their families, that our families, they talk back. They want to be engaged. They want to give us their input, and we want to learn from them. With that, just in closing, our integrated programs are central to the work that we do in advancing equity and achievement for each and every one of our students. We really do feel like we're making meaningful progress in literacy, in attendance. We are responding directly to the needs of our community, those needs that they've identified. And at the same time, we have challenges, and those challenges of flat funding and rising costs remind us the work's not simple, and it's never complete. So thank you for your continued support. And I invite questions, and we can discuss how we can keep moving forward together. And if I can't answer a question, I will definitely get you the answer, because a lot of this work is done, all of us together. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, directors. Who has questions? Director McVeigh.
I don't have a question, just a comment. One, I know that you guys are doing great work. I can't wait for the data to be unembargoed. Is that the right word? Just one request, maybe a suggestion next year when we see this, it would be for transparency purposes. I think it would be nice to see that it funds 5 of 9 counselors or 16 of 300 teachers. And that we can tell the story to the community that's paying for this. Like it's funding 100% and that's at risk, or look at the additive that we've been able to add in this in counselors or whatnot. That would be the only request that I would have.
Gotcha.
Great suggestion. Yes. Directors, any other comments or questions? Anyone? Oh,
Nope,
Director Olson.
Just thank you. That was very comprehensive and well explained.
Director Dobson and Director Wachter, any questions or comments?
None from me, but I really, really appreciate the presentation and highly value the investment of work that's being done in this space. And if I was in person tonight, I would have probably had some more thoughts, but I am such a champion for your leadership and the great work that you and your team are doing. I just think this is such a value add to our community at a time that we always need this kind of support. So thank you so much for going all out for the ways that you do help our student and our larger community.
Thank you, Director Dobson. Is she on?
Yeah, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Yes, thank you again so much for the presentation. I echo my colleagues' comments. I know that a lot of work goes into preparing this for us, and we really appreciate it. My question is around the funding. I think I heard you say that the funding is coming from kind of a county pool. And I just wanted a little clarification on what that pot of money is called that comes from the county. If you have any detail on that, you can share with me.
Yeah. So the funding for CTE, for the college career technical money, we're part of a consortium for that, and so that money comes to us through the county. That's what I was referring to.
Okay, I understand. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Director Tamtrang.
I just wanted to extend that. I think if we're trying to look at those focal groups, I think having that information a little more, extensive, because it's kind of bulked into there, and that's where we're trying to really focus some of the attention, seeing some of that information, so I know what 18 points is versus, what that looks like would be helpful for us to see too.
And we want to thank you for being here. I know that this is a Herculean lift, and everybody here wants to use every penny of every dollar of every resource of every grant that we can get. And it's truly amazing what North Clackamas has done just with mental health supports, with supporting our families that are really struggling, and supporting our students in school that are struggling as well. So I just really appreciate just the dedication, and we know very, very fiscally responsible use and stewardship of the funds. So thank you very much for your presentation. Thank you.
No problem.
Now on to another report. Next on the agenda is North Clackamas Education Foundation update report. I welcome Chief of Staff Tiffany Shireman, who will introduce our guests.
Thank you, Chair Benaloga. It's my pleasure tonight. We have this evening time on the agenda for a report from our partners from the North Clackamas Education Foundation. I do want to make sure that you know that since 1992, the North Clackamas Education Foundation has provided support here in the school district and partnered with the school district to provide exceptional educational opportunities for students. The continued success of the school district and the continued success of the foundation is really dependent upon a partnership that is underscored with working closely and relationship, making sure that we have a strong relationship between both groups. With me tonight for the presentation, our Executive Director, Stephanie Rose, and with her Executive Officer from the Foundation's board, Kelly Coates. They'll provide an update.
All right, thank you guys. As Tiffany said, our relationship with the district is really important. And I would add to that, not just for the district, not just for us, but for our entire community. Our mission statement, Bridging the Gap to ensure students are engaged and ready to learn, we impact students and teachers throughout the district, including community members. And so I'll move on. I'll go over the report and then hand it off to Kelly for a bit, and she'll talk about her board and her past with the foundation and district. So we entered into a contract, our last a 5-year contract with the district at the end of the 21-22 year. That was the finalization of our last 5-year contract. This 5-year contract that we came up about, so our last one was $1 million, and this one was on the agreement of providing $1.3 million to the district throughout that 5-year contract. So you'll see in the supplement that you have in your board packet, you'll see a chart there that lays out what we have provided to the district over these last 3 years of the contract. And I think it's pretty good. We're a little bit ahead. We're 60% through our contract time and 68% through the funding. So we're a little ahead. And I think when we were here last year, we talked about momentum and how we were really feeling momentum. And I think we've continued that a lot this year. Last year, when I sat in front of you, I said we had a record-breaking award year. It was the highest award year we had in the foundation's 32-year history. And I can sit here again and say we had a record-breaking award year. It was our highest award year in the foundation's 33-year history. So I think that, our community is stepping up, and they see that, as we all know, the funding issues that are affecting schools and nonprofits and just the wide world right now. And as that continues to happen, our work becomes more and more important. We supplement the Family Support Center, the food pantry, the clothes closet, as well as enrichment grants, and just a lot. We say pre-K through college is what we do to support our district and community. So when you break down what our $339,000 in awards was, we did $45,711 in grants and program support. And I'll get a little bit more into that later, but what that looks like is direct enrichment grants as well as supports that we've provided directly to classrooms and teachers. We did $82,000 in scholarships, and our scholarship program is one that continues to grow. Community members are coming to us as they have reason to start scholarships and saying, hey, we know that you do this, we know that you give out scholarships, can we ask you to do this with us? And I think it's been 4 or 5 years running now, we've had at least one new scholarship every year. So our scholarship program is growing and growing. $101,000 to the Student and Family Support Center. That is that money that goes to the clothes closet, the food pantry, backpack buddies, as well as emergency housing. Last year, I did connect with the city of Milwaukee. I knew that they had some extra ARPA funds that they had left over that they were going to use for houselessness and emergency housing issues. And they didn't get to it and they had to find something to do with it. So we leveraged a grant from them for $75,000 for our emergency housing program. And so that is now money that's Jennifer just talked about, being the McKinney-Vento are able to use that as well as other people to help those families that are in need. And then that $110,000 in district-directed priority funding, that speaks to our relationship with the district. Every year, district administration comes to us and says, hey, this is where we really need support, and gives us these little buckets that we take that money and put it into support in those areas that they need. Go forward. There we go. So this is talking about our classroom enrichment grants. That breaks down to $22,000 in direct enrichment grants. And in your supplement, you'll see a few of those grants that we mentioned or that we funded. It's a wide range of projects that we fund. We do everything from curriculum support to music to support. We've supported the Rao Black Student Union now for several years in a row with this incredible assembly that they put on. And so it's really nice for teachers to be able to come to us and say, hey, I have this need for new music for my choir and I don't have the funds to get it. And that's where we can step in and give those funds for that new music. And all of a sudden these students they're singing music now that's more modern and maybe from composers that represent them rather than, 50, 60-year-old music. Some of it's great. Some of those are classic songs, but I know that the students really get engaged with that new music that they sing. And then the program support, the direct fundraising support, that looks like, I think the three largest ones that we've partnered with are the Milwaukee Music. We've helped them fundraise using our fundraising platform. The architecture class at Sabin Schellenberg they've done a joinery auction for years where the joinery donates wood to them and then they make these beautiful wood pieces. And they've always done it in person. So they came to us a couple years ago and said, hey, can we use your fundraising platform? And so now their fundraiser is much more efficient because they're online and they're getting it out there. Instead of one night, they're there for weeks. And so they've really found that use. And then the senior party at Putnam has also been with us for several years because they do not have their own 501c3. So we are there in that kind of support as well. This is a mention of our scholarships. 28 scholarships to 24 students. That is because students can double up on our scholarships. Our scholarships are all very unique, and if they apply for more than one of them and the different people that review those decide to award it to them, then they get multiple scholarships. We do our best to eliminate any to eliminate any barriers to any students that may have that. So what we do, I'll explain this, and I still can't think of the word. We will remove students' identifying information from our applications. And so students will show up to reviewers as Clackamas High School 1 or Milwaukee High School 8, etc. And so remove everything that may have any sort of, why can't I think of this word right now? We remove identification to help with make sure that those awards are fair. And so one group won't know that they're awarding a scholarship to the same student that another group awarded. So it's very merit-based as well as need-based. And then I talked about our new scholarships. Last year we had 2 new ones. Milwaukee High School class of 1971 came to us and wanted to start a scholarship through us. And then the Dick Lombard Memorial Scholarship. He was a professional baseball player in the area that went to Milwaukee High School, and his sister contacted us to start that. Next year, we already have one that is done and where it's a future educator scholarship. And this was started by a past superintendent and one of the teachers in our district to just engage students that want to become teachers, to get them to help them support them financially to come back and be teachers in their community. And then we have 2 other memorial scholarships that we are looking at, that I'm working with their parents right now, a Clackamas high school student as well as a Putnam student who had both passed away recently. So as much as I like these scholarships and love doing this, that dealing with the memorial scholarships and the families is a hard part of my job, but I know that it means so much to the families to be able to say, hey, we're supporting other students. We're helping other students in our child's name and honoring their memory in that way. So if you look at our list of memorial scholarships, there's a lot. And then looking into our 2025-26 school year, we've already awarded $10,000 in enrichment grants. We have 2 rounds of those. So one goes over the summer to award for fall programming, and then we have one that goes late fall into early winter to award for late winter and spring programming. As well, we're starting to push out the prioritized funding that the district has asked us for. And this year, as it has in past years, looks like support to library books and music instruments and some of the, we've done Ready, Set, Go in the past, but as I'm sure you're all aware, Ready, Set, Go, because of funding cuts, is no longer. And so we are putting some of that money now into the district's pre-K program that they have started up on their own. We've got $50,000 for college readiness that we're really looking at. That was due to a Nike grant. And we're just really want to continue that momentum and keep going forward. And maybe I can sit up here, I'm going to knock on wood, but like record-breaking year in our 34-year history next year, maybe. And then we've started up a second event. I know a lot of people are familiar with our gala, but last year was our first Building Bridges luncheon, and it was a big success. It was on a lot different level than the gala. It was a lunch hour. We had community members and business owners from all over the district come and came to Sabin and listened to what Sabin does for the students, what the foundation does for the students, how we support Sabin. I know everybody loved the tour that they got to go on afterwards. And so we're having our second one this year. It's a lot of fun. The culinary students make the food. We serve it on lunch trays. You got your milk cartons, everything. It's a great time. And then our gala next year, May 14th. That seems like a long way off, but I know everybody's calendar's packed, so get it on there right now. I think with that, I'll turn it over to you, Kelly.
Thank you. And at the risk of probably being overly official, because I know these school boards are official. Good evening, Chair Benaloga, Vice Chair McVeigh, and the other directors of the school board and leadership of the North Clackamas School District. I'm appreciative of your dedication and service, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to address you this evening. My name is Dr. Kelly Coates. I'm an evaluation analyst with CARE Oregon and an affiliate faculty member with the OHSU PSU School of Public Health. More importantly, I'm a proud member of the North Clackamas Education Foundation. Didn't expect to get emotional. Board of Directors. To say that the North Clackamas School District helped me to get to where I am today is an understatement. My roots run deep here. My parents moved our family to Milwaukee in 1979 to a house that backed up to Linwood Avenue, in large part because of what they had heard about the North Clackamas School District. They wanted a smaller, more progressive district for my brother and me. I attended preschool at Milwaukee Presbyterian Church, taught by Mrs. Marge Schellenberg, wife of Dr. Ben Schellenberg, the district superintendent from 1980 to 1995. I attended Linwood Elementary, Lot Wickham Elementary, when my family moved from Milwaukee to Mount Scott, Ickes Junior High School, rest in peace, and the original Clackamas High School. I graduated in 1995, but the teachings, lessons, skills, and values I carry with me extend far beyond the threshold of the campus on Webster Road. From first grade with Mrs. Tice, to science with Mr. Brown, to band with Mr. Kvek, who recently passed, to humanities with Dr. Browning, or to French with Madame Martin, each of my teachers from kindergarten through my senior year made an indelible mark on the person I am today. They taught me to think critically. They taught me to question. They taught me to analyze. They taught always consider my impact on others. They taught me to be kind. They shaped who I am today. In 2020, when I moved from Northeast Portland to my home off Webster Road, just a stone's throw from Billquist Elementary, I knew I wanted to get involved in the important work of the district, but wasn't sure how, as I don't have kiddos of my own. Over time, I worked to develop new roots in the area and have become good friends with several of the North Clackamas School District school board members, including one, Mr. Orlando Perez. Knowing my nonprofit background, he invited me to consider joining him on the board of the North Clackamas Education Foundation. And after meeting with him and our fearless leader, Stephanie, I was sold. Rather than supporting anyone's particular school through their various alumni networks, I felt I could do more by sharing my nearly 25 years of nonprofit experience along with my time, talents, and skills by becoming a member of the board with the foundation. And I'm deeply grateful for the opportunity. Whether I am giving out scholarships at the graduating high school senior nights, or working to support the Let's Grow Gala in the spring, May 14th, or helping in the development of the foundation's next strategic plan, I know and believe that I am doing meaningful work that directly supports that more than 17,000 students, the educators who support those students across those 32 schools in our school district. I'm grateful for the foundation's continued partnership with the North Clackamas School District, and I look forward to all the great work we can do together. Thank you.
That's it, Stephanie?
Yeah.
I just want to make sure.
Yeah, if you guys have questions.
All right. Directors, does anybody have any questions or comments?
No questions. Just we are deeply, deeply grateful for both of you and the work that you're doing.
Thank you.
When we speak about a well-rounded education and helping support our students' behavioral and mental health needs, you're integral to the school district's ability to accomplish that. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Does anyone else have a question or a comment? Director Tamtrang?
Yes, I just want to say I'm grateful to be a part of the NCEF. I represent the board on their committee, and I just appreciate all that you're doing so much, and I see the passion, and it's just wonderful to see and know that our community is supporting our schools, our students, and I really appreciate it. I'm excited to see how we can continue to work together and grow.
All right. Thank you. Director Wachter?
Thank you, Chair. And thanks to both of our presenters. I am absolutely in awe of the impact that can be made with just a little over $300,000 of awards. And I am, you know me, I'm sort of thinking about like, how do we get NCEF to 500K, $1 million even of awards to be given to our very, very worthy Clackamas students and educators. So could you share, if not now, maybe in the future, a plan for getting us incrementally into that kind of dollar number of awards and what we can do as a school board to support you?
I can say something, short something on that right now. We have been working for the last couple of years to think about how do we get bigger, and that's exactly our question. How do we hit those 500,000 numbers, those $1 million a year numbers? So one of the ways that we've been going, which we've never done before, is making sure that we're talking to estate planners. And we do at this point have several people that for the first time in the foundation's history have signed up to have parts of their estate go to us. We've also been reaching out for some larger grants in the area that are available to us that we haven't exactly taken advantage of in the past. And then kind of getting back to our roots of community outreach. Right now is a very uncertain economic time for a lot of people. And we know that we can't exactly rely on all of the donations that have come in the past. So we have to look at new ways to do things and go back a little bit to community building. And so this year you'll probably see a lot more small fundraisers from us that are partnering with small businesses just to get our name out there and let the community know that we exist and they can support us and they can support the students in the district. So kind of going, like I said, back to our roots, you go back to those basics that help you springboard, and now we're hoping that those help us move forward again.
All right, thank you. Just wanted to make sure Director Wachter didn't having.
thank you so much, Stephanie.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
All right. And thank you. You know, I have served from the board on going to the NCEF meetings. I think this is maybe my third year. It's just amazing. And the board meetings are more granular. It's like, okay, what are we doing? And it's people that are so careful and so passionate, and they want to make sure that they're doing the best that they can to raise as much funds as possible to be able to help as many students as possible. So it's really truly amazing what you're doing at the foundation. So we thank you, and we will see you. Hopefully, December 11th is Building Bridges Luncheon. Get it on your calendar. It's at noon in Sabin Schellenberg, and then May 14th. Put that on your calendar for the gala at Gray Gables. So we hope to see everyone there. And thank you so much. Appreciate your presentation as well, and both of you attending.
Thank you very much.
All right, next on the agenda is policy revisions discussion. I welcome Tiffany Shireman, Chief of Staff, for this agenda item.
Good evening, all. Good to see you from the seat. I am, I think, closing the show, so to speak, tonight with policy revisions, and I'm bringing forward for you tonight for first read consideration discussion. No action tonight. We're not seeking any action. The Superintendent's Policy Review Team has reviewed and supports the following policy additions and modifications. So first in your packet, you're going to see two documents named JFCEB. These are related to personal electronic devices and social media. One is a delete and one is a proposed. Right? So while North Clackamas had addressed student use of personal electronic devices nearly over a year ago, the recent governor's executive order, I don't think I have to go into too much depth about that, it's widely reported, requires an updated policy in addition to some of the more practical, tactical elements of this process. And this version of JFCEB that is under proposed, provided tonight, contains those required elements. So a team got together, reviewed all of the required elements, and then worked on our policy together with OSBA's template, then took it to Superintendent's Policy Review Team for review. So I wanted to make sure that you knew that we're hitting those key pieces that the governor's executive order and then ODE have said that need to be in the policy. Next is policy GCAB, which is related to staff use of personal electronic devices. And I want to make sure that you know that the executive order from the governor was not addressing staff use of personal electronic devices. But at the time when we were reading about students, we went ahead and got into the staff, took a second look at it. And our team looked at OSBA's existing model policy language and recognized that we were not very clear in some of the language that we had in comparison to some of the language that the OSBA model policy had. We wanted to make sure that staff has real clear, or at least clearer, information about the use of personal electronic devices regarding taking video and photos in the scope of their work. I mean, this is related to on-the-job activity. Next, GCBD. Finally, we have these two policies. Both are related to staff leaves of absence. One is more generically around sick leave, illness and injury, and the other around military leave. Both policies incorporate OSBA's model template language, put together with some language from current state law, and then made sure to align it to our current district practice. So there's no substantial changes here for district practice. I do want to call your attention to, though, a state law change, that's ORS 408-290, referenced in your board packet, increasing the number of leave days for military training for staff who are involved in military training during those annually the number of days up to 21 now, the policy reads. So wanted to make sure that you had that. We've added it as its own standalone policy. Wanted to make sure that anyone on staff who also is involved in military service has some clear information that they can go to. It's all in one place. Clarity for everybody involved. So I thank you. These policies are scheduled to come back at your October 9th board meeting. I'm available. Thank you.
Thank you. Board members, does anyone have any questions about these policies?
Just a comment. I'm glad we adopted or changed a 2017 policy where students weren't allowed to have their phones on extracurricular activities. I don't know how we would have ever handled that. And now it's instructional hours, so it really narrows the time frame. So thank you.
Any other directors have question or comments about these policies? Yes, Director Tamtrang.
Can I just ask and sorry if I should know this, but the personal electronic devices and social media for staff, the areas that are marked in gray versus the white, is that the changes?
White is existing language. Gray is the new added clarification language.
I just wanted to make sure I understood.
Yep. And then when they come back to you, just to be clear for everyone, when they come back to you for approval, there'll be a clean copy. So you won't see the strikeouts or any of that kind of thing. That will come back. And just to make sure everybody knows, if for some reason during the course of this meeting we decided there was consensus among the board to add a sentence to something or remove something, usually we would bring it all clean except for that portion back in the consent for you.
All right, thank you. And thank you for taking the time to answer some questions yesterday. I miss being on the policy committee, so I might be the only one, but I do miss it. So it was nice to get some clarification. I appreciate that. So this will come back at our next meeting for some action. All right. So we are at the end of our meeting, and I want to leave you with a quote that will encompass both of our proclamations this month, our Filipino American Heritage Month, and also our school administrator proclamation, that Jose Rizal, he's a Filipino nationalist and a writer, and he's considered a national hero of the Philippines. And he says, without education and liberty, that soil and that son of mankind, no reform is possible. No measure can give the result desired. So with that, we are adjourned. It is now 7:33, and this public meeting of the North Clackamas School District Board of Directors is adjourned. Have a good evening.